Well, today we're going to be talking about Manapol, and it's one of my favorite topics. So I'm going to do the share screen thing here right now, and hopefully this will work out for us. Looks like it has, I hope. There we go. And just for all of you, I want you to know that while I have my screen full with slides, I can't see the chat. So you may be saying things in the chat to me, but I can't see it. But I do really wish you would put your comments in the chat so that the European staff can see what your thoughts are and respond to you that way. So we are going to talk about Manapol. If you're going to talk to somebody, a brand new contact, you might say something like, are you interested in learning about a very safe and very natural way to support your immune system and to improve gastrointestinal health, maybe even improve the absorption of key vitamins? I mean, if you're going to be taking vitamins, you want to make sure you actually absorb them and use them. I think that's pretty important. Well, there's a plant that's been known for thousands of years. Literally, it's in the literature going back for thousands of years in various parts of the world, because this plant grows, different species of the plant grow on all the continents. So it's pretty well known, and it's well known to our ancestors for its healing properties. In fact, I think it's notable, and some of you know that I'm a student of history. I do love history, so please excuse me if I pop little history notes in here periodically. But Alexander the Great, most people have heard of him. He had an entire portion of his supply train for his army that were nothing but wagons full of aloe plants. And he had men who were assigned specifically to keep those aloe plants healthy. Why? Well, his physicians, and understanding that medicine was not very sophisticated back in those days, but his physicians noted that aloe could help the soldiers heal faster if they took fresh aloe leaf and they broke it open and put the gel on their wounds after a battle. They healed better, they healed faster. Well, for thousands of years, that's pretty much what aloe was looked at for, and it pretty much that was the only thing that people thought about it. It helps you heal if you have a cut or a scratch or a burn, something like that. And it wasn't until much later that real scientific investigation took place to find out what the real benefits of aloe are and what is it in aloe that makes it do what we know it does. What's the functional component? So we'll be talking about that functional. But before we talk about benefits, let's talk about the reality that we live in today. Now, I know that some of you are regulars to my calls and you've watched my videos and you've heard me talk about this before, but for everyone who's not been here before, you want to know that there's a reason that we want to be taking dietary supplements in the 21st century, whereas we weren't as keen on it in the 20th century, and virtually nobody did it earlier than the 20th century. And part of it is because of the stress on our bodies. Now, I want you to think about your body as though it was an organic machine. And the reason I like the organic machine analogy is that the average person, if I talk to them about biochemistry, nutritional biochemistry, glycobiology, they just sort of glaze over and they have no idea what I'm talking about. So I think it's important to talk to people using examples of things that just make sense, that they can relate to. Everyone knows what a machine is, and everyone knows the basics about machines. Now, your body really is a machine. It's an organic machine, but it's still a machine. And like all machines, it needs to be fueled. Well, the fuel, that's the food we eat. And if the food we eat isn't giving us all of what we need to be healthy, vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and something called glycans, which we'll get to in a few moments. If you're not getting all that from your diet, and science shows us that we're not getting all that in the modern diet, almost no one is, that we now have to be looking at supplementation. And if I were going to do this presentation about vitamins or minerals or some other nutrient, I would start with this same idea, the organic machine, and the fact that the stresses on our bodies, our organic machine, has increased greatly. Now, our ancestors lived in a completely different environment. Many people don't know this, and Augustine mentioned this in the introduction, that one of the books I've written, because I've written several books, but one of them was called How to Survive on a Toxic Planet. And in that book, I noted that the age of synthetic chemistry started around 1930. In fact, synthetic chemicals did not exist on planet Earth before that date. Now, once synthetic chemicals began to be created, and there were certainly advantages with the synthetics that we enjoy in modern life today, but for every positive, there's a negative. And there are problems with some synthetic chemicals in our environment that are causing real stress to our immune systems and our nervous systems and to other systems as well. That's happening in the 21st century, but it didn't happen before 1930. Now, I want you to think about driving your vehicle, whatever your vehicle is. And you know that if you drive your vehicle on a level road for, let's say, 5 kilometers, you're going to burn a certain amount of petrol, and you're going to have a certain level of wear and tear on your car, and you're going to need a certain amount of maintenance, eventually leading to replacement parts of various types. But if you were to drive that same car under the same weather conditions, but now you're going to drive it uphill 5 kilometers, you're going to need more petrol. It's still 5 kilometers, but you're going to need more petrol. You're going to have more wear and tear on your car. You're going to have to do maintenance sooner. You will have to replace parts sooner. So our ancestors were pretty much walking along a level plane with their organic machines, but we in the 21st century, we are climbing an ever steeper hill, steeper and steeper every year, as the threats to our bodies increases and the nutrition from our food is not meeting the challenge. It's not getting what we need. The human body is an amazing, amazing thing. The human body is able to take nutrients from one system, literally to rob one system, to reinforce another system. And that's great. And that's kind of an emergency backup that your body can do. But eventually, there's nothing left to rob from one system to pay another system. This is what supplementation is all about. Because in the 21st century, we are all driving up a steep grade. Things have changed. Now, many of you know that most governments on the planet, in fact, every government I've ever dealt with on planet Earth, they always say the same thing. They always say, our food supply is the best in the world. Our food is great. Our diet is great. And nobody needs supplements. Well, that's one agency of the governments around the world talking to you. But here's the truth. The truth is 67 countries at this moment, that's a lot of countries, folks. 67 countries have made it law, federal law, that food companies of various types have to add vitamins and or minerals to the food before you eat it. Now, why would they make that a law? They made it a law because the food isn't delivering sufficient vitamin and mineral anymore and other nutrients. But those are foundational things that people are aware of in governments, vitamins and minerals. Most government people are not aware of our topic today. And I can testify to that firsthand in talking to various government officials around the world. So 67 countries have said, yeah, you need to fortify your breakfast cereal. You need to fortify your bread. You need to, and they go right through this list. This is why when you buy various foods at the grocery store, you actually see statements fortified with iron, fortified with vitamin B1, fortified with whatever. So they have added synthetic vitamins as well as minerals to the food in 67 countries by law, because those countries recognize that the modern diet does not provide the same nutrition as it used to, and that the stresses on our bodies is greater than it's ever been before. We are driving uphill. Well, the next question that comes up for everybody, you've talked to that brand new person that you want to introduce to our products, and you've established that we need to have supplements. But now they say to you, but why should I buy supplements from Manatech? I mean, why Manatech? There's thousands of companies, right? And there are lots of choices. Well, the first thing and the most important thing, as far as I'm concerned, is unlike the other companies in our industry, we are the science company. We are, folks, we are. We have spent tens of millions of US dollars. Translate that into any currency of whatever country you're living in right now. Tens of millions of US dollars. We've spent so much, I've lost track. I'm not even sure anymore. And we keep spending money on it. Not only on our research equipment, but on research studies. That's important. Studies are expensive. And so we study our products. Why do we do that? Well, we want to make sure that our products are safe. We want to make sure they're effective. And we do that through science. The majority of the scientific studies that we have at Manatech are double-blind, placebo-controlled human studies. That, my friends, is the gold standard of science. Those are as good as it gets. In fact, when a doctor says to you, well, is there science to back up your product? And you would respond with, yes, we have human double-blind, placebo-controlled studies. Oh, well then you have evidence to base your claim. Yes, we do, because doctors practice evidence-based medicine. So it's very important that you know this. Now, I bring this up because our competitors don't do science because science is expensive. But there are a couple of companies. Right now, there are somewhere in the neighborhood of about 4,000 companies globally. And I'm aware of maybe 4 in the world that do some small level of science. But you need to do science on your product. Now, here's something that you see with lots of companies. They'll have on their website somewhere, because everybody uses websites these days. And somewhere on their website, they'll have a page that says, you know, our magical product has an ingredient, one ingredient, which is scientifically tested. It's got clinical studies, and that's why our product's the best. Well, that's interesting, and it's good. It's a good thing. But let's go back to reality and science. Let's say, and hopefully you can see this on the camera as I hold my hands, item A and item B. Item A will get one function, item B gets a different function. But when you mix item A and item B together, maybe you have a completely different function. Or maybe A and B cancels out the function of A or B. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying. So what I'm trying to tell you is that Manatech wants to do studies on our finished, our completed products. First of all, we do original science. Yes, we of course, we do add ingredients that we come across that have good science and we think will improve our products. Of course we do. But we do original science. So much so that we are the only company in the industry that can say, that's worth repeating, so I'm going to repeat it. We are the only company in the industry that can say that we pioneered a field of science. No other company can say that. I'll talk more about that in a moment. We currently have earned more than 150 patents. Now, patents do expire in 20 years. That's the case in every country. And some people say, oh my God, the patent's expired. Well, you don't panic about that because we use exclusive agreements and exclusive ingredients and proprietary processing that cannot be duplicated. So the patents are great because it proves that we have what we say we have. And that patent data will always exist, even if the patent's expired because it got to be 20 years old. But the point is, your product is protected. The exclusiveness of the product is protected due to what we do with exclusive legal ingredients and our processes, which are also exclusive to Manatech. So we pioneered the science of nutritional glycobiology. No other company can say that. We are the science company, my friends. So when somebody says to you, oh yeah, but I was on this website and their website's a lot prettier than yours. Yeah, pretty websites, there's a lot of pretty websites out there. And you know, their marketing material sounds more exciting than yours. Well, good marketers, bad marketers. But science is science, folks. You can't argue with science. That's why I'm here to talk to you today, because of science, scientific evidence. Why Manatech? Because of science. Marketing is important. Pretty websites are important. But you want to buy a product that actually works, right? You want to buy a product that is documented to work. That's what science is all about. That's what Manatech does. You know, the first science on glycans was actually done, and it really wasn't very sophisticated science, right? But it was the first scientific approach to studying glycans to answer questions, 1857. That goes back a while. And then by 2010, there were almost 23,000 scientific papers published in this area. And the last time I checked, more than 800,000 published papers in this area. That's huge, folks. The science is growing by leaps and bounds. By the way, the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for 2022, that technology could not have been created without glycans. That's a different conversation, different presentation I would do for you folks, but I just wanted to mention that. So more and more, the scientific community that 5 years ago, when I said glycans, they were saying, what? What's that? But now the awareness is increasing, really increasing. In fact, there's something called the Human Glycome Project, started back in 2011. It's ongoing. I think it's going to be going on for a very long time. And that's because of all the things that glycans do in the human body. Literally, there is no function in the human body that can function without glycans. Again, that's a different presentation that I would do. I'm not going to spend time on that, but this is huge. It's just really, really huge. Well, today I'm here to talk about Manapol. Manapol is a really interesting product. It was Manatech's second product, and this is a product that set our course for the rest of Manatech's lifespan, which I hope will be centuries beyond where we are right now. So, where did the name come from? Well, in the Bible and also in the Quran, and I'm talking about Old Testament, New Testament when I say Bible, so that's, for me, it's inclusive of the two. They talk about manna, and you've heard about, well, manna from heaven came down to feed the Israelites as they were on their 40-year trek through the wilderness to the promised land. Well, from that word manna, we have a a monosaccharide called mannose. All right. When you put the letters OSE, that would be in English, but I mean, when you put the letters OSE on the end of any word, it identifies a saccharide or a sugar. Now, this is important. We have done a double-blind, placebo-controlled test, human test, to verify that the saccharides we use, which I really hate to use the word sugar, but it is correct to use the word. But when I say sugar, people think about table sugar, you know, that awful stuff that can make you fat and make your health bad, right? We don't do that. That's not what we do. There are many saccharides or sugars. There are monosaccharides. There are oligosaccharides. There are polysaccharides. Many of these, all of these saccharides, when they combine, they become glycans. Okay, but that's again a different conversation. So where's it come from? Manapol. Where does the name Manatech come from? Well, the original name of our company was Emprise. And we shortly changed the name, very shortly after the founding of the company, to Manatech, as in manna from heaven. And of course, mannose is the functional component in aloe vera. All of that gel around the mannose is there to keep the mannose safe. That's right. So the gel is pretty much useless in terms of your health. It's the functional in the gel that does the job. So here you see the explanation of an oligosaccharide, which is 3 to 10 monos that are literally connected and strung together. And then polysaccharides, more than 10 that are strung together. And of course, mono meaning one saccharide. So right now, the world is beginning to catch up to glycans, the whole conversation around glycans. But Manatech's been the pioneer in this area. We were the one that started the whole thing. And all of our products, we try and put some level of our complex of glycans, which we call ambrotose. And one of the two most important of those ingredients, and by the way, there are 10, there are not 8, there are 10 in ambrotose. And 2 of those are so crucial to the function of ambrotose. And one of those 2 is Manapol. And Manapol, of course, is our registered trade name for the mannose, which is extracted from aloe vera gel using our proprietary process. So that's not any mannose, that's mannose through our proprietary process. So as you kind of go through the history of what happened, and I love history, sorry, I know most people don't, but all the way back to the Ming Dynasty in China, they were using glycans, but they didn't know it. I mean, nobody knew it back then. In fact, the Chinese have something called bird's nest soup, which every time the emperor got sick, his personal physicians would make him some bird's nest soup. Well, the bird's nest soup was made with the saliva of a very special little bird who would use their saliva to glue the little twigs together to make the nest. In that saliva were special glycans that improved immune function. Now, we know a lot more about that today. In fact, I have a whole separate presentation I do just for dentists, and it's all about the oral glycome. So to teach you about glycans and how they work for oral health, that's a whole different thing. Literally, folks, literally, there is no function of the human body that does not involve glycans. No function. So vitamins and minerals are important. You bet they are. They're essential. But understand this, if you have everything you need, but you're deficient in a key glycan, you're not going to function right. That's just the way it is. So I think, and you know, we'll do a presentation sometime in the future for Manatech Europe on our product called ambrotose. We'll talk more about that at that time. So as I mentioned, our first product was Plus all those years ago. It's still one of our top sellers, by the way, because it's a great product. Everybody that uses it wants to keep using it, doesn't ever want to stop using it. I'll tell you what, if some basic things here for you folks. If you're kind of tired, lethargic, you're unhappy, things aren't going right, or perhaps you're having some difficulty with female reproductive system, or perhaps you're having some difficulty with the male reproductive system. Yes, it helps in both. It's not just a woman's product. Plus is a product that's so good, I never have to talk about it. I used to tell people, and still do really, you know what? If you can't really explain Plus, just give somebody a bottle. They're going to want a bottle in 30 days. They're going to want another bottle. They're going to come back to you for it. There's no way around it. So our original Manapol was grown in Mexico, and we are currently growing our Manapol in Costa Rica. It's important when you grow Manos, or when you grow the aloe, that you have certain soil conditions, certain weather conditions, certain rainfall, certain level of humidity that goes on around the year. And as long as you maintain that, whether you're in Costa Rica or Mexico, or, if we were going to grow in, gosh, I don't know, El Salvador, wherever, as long as you're in that same zone for weather and soil conditions, that's very important, the soil conditions, then you can grow mannose rich aloe. Now understand, all of our products are not made from aloe, and a lot of people get confused about that. One crucially key ingredient is made from aloe, and that is Manapol. The other 9 that we find in the Ambritos product, well, there's a total of 4 different plants that we extract our glycans and our saccharides from. 4 different plants, but that's a different presentation as well. So with this in mind, using our proprietary method, not just for growing, but our proprietary method for extracting the mannose from the aloe gel, that counts. In fact, this process, which again is exclusive to Manatech, every company's got aloe, and I get emails all the time from associates around the world. Well, company ABC says that they have aloe too. Well, that's nice. And aloe is good for you. And even low-grade aloe, even aloe that isn't extracted properly, even aloe that isn't processed properly, as we do, you still get benefit from it. I mean, it's that great. But will you get the level of benefit that you can get from Manapol? The answer is clearly no. And so that's why we do our special process for extraction and preservation, stabilization, and also processing this so that it is into the final product for you. So in that aloe gel, and I've had the privilege of checking this out so many times in growing and in the various stages of processing. Aloe is a pretty remarkable plant in a lot of ways. It really is. It's a really tough plant. It's very resilient. But everything about that plant, everything, that really hard outer shell of the plant that you can see on the screen right now with that side view, that very thick outer shell, that is there, as well as the gel, to protect the mannose. The rest of the gel is of really no value. But we take what we discard, so we only want to take out the mannose, the ace mannan, the true ace mannan. Lots of companies use the word ace mannan now, but we have true ace mannan. And when we take that out and we discard the rest of the aloe plant, we don't waste it. We still use it. And that, I think, is really, really important, because what is not good for your body, that mannose that we put in Manapol, is great for fertilizer. It really helps to fertilize the soil. And by fertilizing the soil with this gel and the ground up leaves, into a very fine grind, you put that into the soil and it grows better, healthier aloe plants. It's so cool that we don't waste anything that way. I really, really am happy about that. Now, we also have the highest level of polysaccharide content that has been researched of any aloe product. It is the saccharide content that counts. You want more. The more you have, the better your results. And our products are third-party clinical tested. That's important because if you don't trust your own product and your own technology enough to take it to a third party and say, we're going to have you test this for us and you'll find whatever you find. And we will go with whatever you find as the result. And of course, it always comes out great. But do other companies do third-party testing? Not much. Not much at all. Our aloe, our mannose from aloe, is unique in a number of ways. One of the ways is that we have the pectin from the aloe. Now, if you can imagine, if you were to think of a hexagon shape, so I wish I should put a picture of it in this presentation, but think of a hexagon shape. Now, the outer walls of the hexagon is a pectin material. Pectins are all glycans. All pectins are glycans. And pectins are known to help the body detoxify problems from the 21st century. So you have the benefit of the pectin as well as the mannose. We maintain the pectin and the mannose together in the same powder. It's part of the reason that the Manapol powder has the thickness that it has. And the heavier a pectin is, the more effective it is. Check the studies for yourself. I defy anyone to find a heavier allopectin than ours. I defy anyone to find it. And so we have that huge benefit from our allopectin, as well as the mannose that we have specifically processed through our proprietary method that no one else can do in the world. It's just us. We know that Manapol contributes to cellular communication. It is cellular communication that causes your systems to work. If your body is invaded by something that is not good for you, and your body knows it's got to switch on the immune system to go after that thing. Well, it only knows to do that through cellular communication. Your body only knows to make a hormone through cellular communication. It only knows to make a brain chemical through cellular communication. It doesn't matter what you want to do. Every function in the human body is based on cellular communication and relies on glycans. Everything. So for me, the most foundational nutrient for anyone to take would be a glycan. It would, how could anything be more important than that? We also know that Manapol specifically not only can improve your immune response, it can also improve cellular metabolism, and we know that it can improve the absorption of key vitamins like vitamin C and vitamin E. That's pretty darn important too. Lots of benefits. Now, our ace mannan, true ace mannan, by definition, the definition is at the American Medical Association's United States Adopted Names site. And you will find the definition is ace mannan has at least 1 million or more Daltons molecular weight. A Dalton is a unit of weight. Now, I'm asked frequently about D-mannose because people can go on to who knows what website, and in Spain they can go to pharmacies and they can buy D-mannose. Well, The D mannose is going to be somewhere around 380,000 to maybe 400,000 Daltons. Ours is routinely not only above 1 million, ours is routinely above 2 million Daltons. So is there a difference between ordinary D mannose from aloe that was not done through our specific process and Manapol? The answer is yes. It's bigger than that, though, because you see, the function of anything in biochemistry is due to the structure of it. So I always say to my students, structure equals function. You change the structure, you change the function. So let's, and most of you won't want to remember all of this, but just so everyone can see that our ace mannan, you see that on the first line, that is the formula for it, the C66H100NO49, and then ordinary lower grade D mannose has a different formula. It's because the structure is different of the two molecules. Structure equals function. If you want the best, you want Manapol. That's it. Now, some people will say, well, you know, that D mannose is really cheap stuff. How come yours is so expensive? Well, because we're not putting any kind of junk or filler or any other materials here. We are, through our process, we can identify, isolate, and extract the functional, as well as that pectin I talked to you about. We can extract that, but we need 415 kilograms of aloe leaf to make 1 kilo of Manapol. And all the rest, the other 414 kilos, that gets put on a truck, take it out and make fertilizer out of it, and literally fertilize the aloe fields for the next season's crop. So think about that. All of that gel and only 1 kilo of Manapol out of it. It's like I've been there so many times that it's just this mountain of aloe leaf as they are extracting just that teeny tiny amount of the mannose from the aloe gel. And of course, we also separate from aloe latex. Because our processing is done by hand, when they do it by machine, you're going to have some aloe latex in the product. You're just going to, because machines can't have the gentle, loving care and precision of somebody doing it by hand with a special tool. And so you're going to find that some products out there are going to have aloe latex in it. Aloe latex is not only not good for you, it really is bad for your digestive tract. So this is important stuff. You think about this is pretty amazing stuff. So cellular communication, absolutely. We know that this is one of two of the most important saccharides for cellular communication. And folks, that means all the functions of the human body, everything, no exceptions. I have people who will come up to me and they'll say, you know, I have problem A. Do you think I should use Manapol? Yes. And another person will come up to me and say, you know, I have problem B. Do you think I should use Manapol? Yes. Why? Because every function, I don't care if you have problem A, B, C, D, E, I don't care what your problem is. If your cells are not communicating effectively, you can't have effective function in your body. It's really that simple. We know our product is safe to use year round. So some people will say, well, it really helped my immune system, but I'm afraid I might get used to it. Like maybe I'll develop a problem where it won't work with me anymore. No, it's safe to use all year round. Your body is using up saccharides at such a rate, it's not, I couldn't even calculate it. If I had a quantum computer to try and put it on a screen, a digital screen, the numbers would be moving so fast, your eyes could not see the number. They would just see blurs. That's how fast your body is using up saccharides. So all year long, absolutely safe, all year immune support. That is really great and always safe. It also helps to promote gastrointestinal function. We found in our research, by the way, we weren't looking for it. We found it kind of by accident, but sometimes you have happy accidents in science, and that leads you to another discovery. And we found that our saccharides in our products, Manapol and Ambertose, that probiotic bacteria love to eat the stuff. They love it. And in fact, so when you create a food for a probiotic bacteria, that's called a prebiotic. So our product Manapol and our product Ambertose, they're both prebiotic. And as they feed these probiotics, you know how it works. Think of yourself. If you eat healthy, you're healthier. If you eat less healthy, well, you're less healthy. Okay? So just if you feed those probiotic bacteria the healthiest possible food, then they can get healthier, they can multiply faster, they can help to support your colon health more effectively and efficiently. Very cool stuff. And of course, again, remembering that you can absorb, you can have an improved absorption of key nutrients like vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E. These are all important for your health, and you want to absorb your nutrients as efficiently as you can. Some people, just for mineral or vitamin absorption, would say, well, heck, I'd take a second product just to help absorb my vitamins better. Why not? I think it's a great idea. So, folks, that is a brief look at Manapol, one of our most important products at Manatech, a product that everyone can use year-round safely, a product that is made through an exclusive process that cannot be matched anywhere else, a product that is distinctly different than any other Manos product on the planet and is exclusive to Manatech. I hope this information has been very helpful for you, and I really encourage you to get people to watch this video to learn more. And by the way, one of the areas that I've studied in my career is learning psychology, and I can tell you that most people don't learn everything accurately the first time around. And you'll find that the more times you watch a video, the more you'll learn. And you'll say, I don't remember hearing that the first time I watched the video. How about that? That's what you'll find. So really, you can expand what I call your intracranial cargo, right? Expand your mind, expand your knowledge base, reinforce your knowledge by watching the videos.